I think let's just say up front we haven't had the best record in Durban over the last period of time, and we're looking forward to having the opportunity to put that right now. I think one of the reasons why is that we haven't really adapted to the surface as well over the last period of time, and I think we've had good discussions over that now. Yeah, look, I mean, I think we've been very fortunate over the last period of time that we haven't had too many, touch wood, serious injuries to our front line three seamers especially. I think a decision will be made on Mornay by this evening, so they're still hopeful that he will come through. I think he's done really well actually over the last period of time, so we'll see how he goes today, and the medical staff will make a decision there today. But outside that, I think we've seen performances from guys that have been around the squad. Guys like Carl, who's come in as cover for him. He played a once-off Test match, did very well. Rory Kleinfeld has been around the squad for a period of time, had a taste of international cricket at its toughest, really, in Australia. So yeah, I feel that we have enough bases covered to hopefully still be effective, even if he's not. Yeah, I mean, I think we've obviously to have both guys, the top, is fantastic. I think Vernon has been sort of the link in the attack that we probably missed for a period of time. He's come in when he started and made a huge impact on international cricket from the word go. I think everywhere we've gone, people have kind of said, well, he needs to meet this challenge. Can he bowl in England? Can he bowl in the subcontinent? And everywhere we've gone, he seemed to have stood up and performed. He adds a new dimension to the attack with Dale and Mornay. And it's also great to see his batting going from strength to strength. I think more so with Vernon, besides the skill, I think everyone talks about his skill. He's got a real personality, that's great for the team environment. He's always there in people's faces, giving 100%, committing to what needs to be done. And he's that sort of character, a real character for the team. And I think from my perspective, that is probably his biggest asset, is that he's always a guy that that when you give him the ball, he's got the skill to make something happen, but he's got the will and the character, and that's great to know as a captain. Yeah, look, I think that the top three in any Test lineup play a crucial role. I think if you have to go back generations and see that there's no successful team without the top three, with guys that can put in performances and set games up. It really is, probably a big stepping stone to setting up a Test match win, especially when you've got stroke players in the middle order. It's important that we do the hard yards for them. And get that ball old and soft. But yeah, I mean, I think it's, from my perspective, it's obviously great to see Vari play well, and for the two of us to, we've been, I think it's 20 odd Test matches now we've been together, and I'd love to carry that on. I think as you said, the opening partnership is a crucial factor in the success of any team. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think the surface sort of can change every day. Stats do say maybe day 2 is a more difficult day to bat than, say, day 1, and on a Test match. It's pretty similar to the Wanderers, actually, in many ways, in terms of the stats. But I think overhead conditions and weather conditions can play a big role here in Kingsmead. It can get hot, it can get flat, and there are times it can do it, but it's just about reading those moments of the game well and making sure that you can be effective and get something out of it at those times. It obviously feels fantastic. I mean, I think you certainly can feel the buzz. People are looking forward to the Boxing Day Test match here in Durban, which is exciting for us as a team. When I started playing for South Africa, the Boxing Day and New Year's Test were our marquee Test matches, and that's one of the reasons I guess we don't tour Australia this time of the year, is that these are our marquee matches, and in front of our own fans, that's what they look forward to. Obviously, it's a bit sad not to know that we're not going to have a New Year's Test this year, but so this is our last opportunity in a marquee Test match of the year and of the season to really make a big play for our fans. I think we'll make the decision in the best interest of how we feel tactically the wicket will play throughout 5 days, not just one day. I think the Wanderers historically is a difficult place for a spinner to bowl. I don't think Ashwin was effective either at the Wanderers. I think we just need to set up, see how Mornay comes through his fitness test, and then decide what's going to be our best attack to win a Test match, and make those decisions accordingly over the next 2 days. Yeah, look, I think that workload will be in their legs somewhere in the test match. I think especially if we can get a good partnership somewhere in our top order. Hopefully we could take advantage of the amount of time. They only had 3 seamers that did a huge amount of work. So, I think the only fortunate thing is that our bowlers have had an extra day probably to rest. But that decision will be based on the surface. I think for us, I think almost as a team, the more confident we've got, the less maybe the toss has been a worry for us. I think we feel that we've got bases covered and that we can be effective either way. So, obviously, hopefully tomorrow, on Boxing Day, we'll make the right decision to make the biggest impact. But I think if we can get our skills right, that will be a factor. I'm sure. I'm actually looking forward to it. I think the stop-start nature of our Test summer has made it very difficult to always keep starting again. And I think certainly having played a Test match like that, I think all of us are looking forward now to taking the next step again and hopefully producing performances that we've been capable of over the last period of time.
It's kind of emotionally.
Yeah, look, I think from an emotional perspective, it's been an interesting few days. I think as a team, perspective is always important, and understanding, put things into context and understand what needs to be done. And I feel that we are mentally ready. I think today's training session is an important part of that, and hopefully today's training session will be really good and high intensity, and we'll be ready for Boxing Day. I have no doubt.